They never asked again. I still didn't have to say no. I get a lot of accusations. I have some detractors out there, and it's their perfect right, and I salute them for it. People say, Uncle Kage is a liar, he's trying to whitewash the fandom. Considering the kind of press the fandom got in the past, I think we could use a little bit of whitewash. I don't consider it whitewash to simply show them our best side. You know, if somebody says, can I take your picture, you don't do this. Yeah, go ahead. What's the first thing you do? Okay, how's my hair? Yes. Should I take my pictures? Nothing wrong with putting your best paw forward. There's a question, I think, over here, isn't there? No? There's down here. If you look so far away. Oh, there's the lady in the back. Yes, ma'am.
What happened on CSI?
Uh-oh.
Lots of good stuff.
Nothing. Actually, CSI, they did an episode, what was the episode title called? Fur and Loathing. Fur and Loathing. It was a fictional furry convention that took place called PathCon. That took place in CSI Las Vegas. And among the various subplots and things that were going on, including this incredibly ludicrous incident where a guy gets shot in a meat locker, and it's so cold that the blood droplets freeze instantaneously in the air, and that's why we find him inside the cuff of his pants. I'm a scientist. I was rolling on the floor at that. There was this convention going on, and of course, a horrible death happens. One of their customers is found out in the desert, both hit by a car and shot. Yes, the Raiders were on something. I don't know what. He was both shot and hit by a car, so they go to the convention. And what they discovered was this guy had synthetic fibers in his stomach. And they did a further investigation, and they found out that these people get together, and what they do is they get their costumes on, and then they lick each other. And later on, when he gets drugged and he's out in the desert, he is so unwilling to take off the head of his suit that he's actually throwing up through the head of his suit. Griffin back there looking creature, would you step forward a moment, please? Turn so the nice people can see you. Would you ever consider, in your current state, licking another fursuit? Is that because you are not Gene Simmons? Yeah. I'm looking at that thinking, what? Okay, that's not going to make sense. Thank you very much. I just wanted to demonstrate. It was an absolutely laughable, ridiculous show about these people who go to this convention and have sex in their fursuits. And then there was this goofy guy who, when approached by police officers, even refused to take off the head of his suit. I don't think anybody here is that hardcore or that stupid. When a cop tells you to take off the fursuit head, yes sir, you take that suit off. In short, it was dumb. But all people came up with was, oh my God, furries are people who get together in a hotel and do awful sexual things in their fursuits. Do some people want to do that? Maybe they do. I don't happen to know anybody in my circle of friends. Most people in my circle of friends are about my age and about as tolerant of excessive heat and exertion as I am. Going upstairs for some of them is a little difficult. Trying to exert oneself, if you know what I mean, while wearing the equivalent of their sofa is probably beyond them. The problem we have is human beings have a tendency to generalize. And this is something that our species has not gotten past. You're not going to fix it. Try as you might, it is deeply ingrained in us. We have fought wars over the notion that those people are like this. Some of those people maybe are. Think about it. Throughout our history, it's always been us versus those people who are all alike. The people with skin that color do dreadful things. The people who live in that area are awful and evil. The people who are furry, they're all like this. Which is sad because there is such an amazing, jaw-droppingly incredible wealth of diversity in this band. To generalize us even in the slightest does a tremendous disservice to us all. Any other questions?
Except we're generally tolerant.
Except we're generally tolerant. Tolerant is often mistaken for accepting. There are some people I have to slap around and tell them that. Yes, sir?
At the opening ceremonies, there was mention of national media that had possibly picked up on Anthrocon.
Reuters. We did get a phone call from Reuters. And we answered their question. And, well, we'll see what they have to say. It is kind of interesting. What?
I missed it.
Reuters News Network.
What was the question?
Oh, he said, who were these people who contacted us? What's this all about? the question, what is going on there? And we told them. And we'll see what comes about. Reuters is not likely to do the CSI thing. They're reporters. They're journalists. They want to tell the story. It will still show up on News of the Weird, but at least it'll be honest. We had, I think, 6 local television stations and newspaper outlets shown up yesterday between the hours of 2 and 4. That was my mistake. I told them show up between the hours of 2 and 4. I didn't expect they would all show up between the hours of 2 and 2:05. Sorry, Carl, my fault. So we were running around showing them things, and generally we had some very good coverage. It was, I think, the late news show that was on last night. National news. Anthrocon makes national news. The 4 top stories were a horrible bus crash that killed a bunch of people. There was a volcano erupting somewhere, another tornado in the Midwest that caused billions of dollars of property damage, and furries in Pittsburgh. I thought, great. Are we like one of the biblical plagues now? Oh my God, blood, rain of frogs and clown noses falling from the sky and furries showing up in Pittsburgh. Yeah, we're making you rich. Shut up. That's always my fallback. We're bringing $5.5 million to this city this weekend. You got a problem with us? We'll leave.
They'll turn around and say,
Yeah, you don't got a problem with us? Shut up. Get out your camera. We'll pose for you. I never thought of the idea of furries having political clout. But we have been doing some discussion with the borough councils here in Pittsburgh. We're trying to do some really cool things next year. They require the approval of the city. They'll give it to us. But we'll get into that later on. What time is it? Oh my goodness. Time flies when you're up here. Any other questions? Dealing with the media, dealing with the public in general. How to show people what furries really are.
I have a question.
What do you say, Sino?
What happens if you know somebody and they know one of those furries? So she's not pulling it from the TV show. She has firsthand knowledge of one of them.
If she, fortunate or unfortunate, I'll leave that to the viewer to decide. If that is her impression of furry fandom, you're not going to change it. Don't even try. Because her mind's already closed. You can kind of look at that and say, you mean there really are people who do that? All right, that's a new one on me. Because, to be quite honest, a lot of these things that they say furries do, like with the tongue snaking out of that beak there, 4.5 feet long, wrapping around somebody's head 4 times, that's a horror movie. That's not furry sex. That's like The Exorcist. There was a reporter, an investigative reporter, a snoopy, nosy reporter who heard that furries, they're a bunch of deviants who like to scritch each other. I gotta find out what this scritching is. That must mean something evil and sexual. They would not give her a press pass to go into Fur Fright because they had seen some of the other things she had written about. She was herself a sicko and a prevert, so they said no. So she simply bought a membership, bought herself a cheap set of cat ears, figured she would go incognito. She'd blend in. She'd get the real story. The article is magnificent because it is pages and pages of her describing the things she kept trying to find and couldn't. You know, I heard about this. I went from room party to room party. I went to this one, it was supposed to be like, you know, the mega gift spooge party, and there were 16 people sitting silently drawing in sketchbooks and texting each other. She said, I went to the dance. It was supposed to be this horrible, rollicking, oh my God, ecstasy and all this. And there was a little 6-year-old girl who was dancing with 2 fursuiters while her father, the security guard, stood by smiling. And her conclusion was, and this is what I treasure, I went looking for flying semen. What I found was a Catholic school Halloween party. I sent her some fan mail saying, whereas I greatly disapprove of your methods, you're my new best friend. Sir.
Just thought of something. Also, to those of us who, you know, are 18 but have parents that...
I happen to have parents, and I'm over 18.
Good. So we're in the same boat. Those parents that...
Oh, my parents are here.
I'm saying the parents that might not understand, I showed my parents the letter, and my parents are, to put it broadly, religious. And they read through, and they hit the about minors and adult content, and they're like, what adult content? And that's when the media part kicked in. I was like, I've never heard of it. I've never seen it.
Tell them
There might be. I've never
there is adult content there, and as it says right there in that letter, we keep it behind that wall. If people ain't supposed to see it, they don't see it. People don't want to see it, they don't got to see it. People want to see it, go behind the wall and see it.
The problem is the religious. As soon as they heard adult content, they're like...
I'll sit down with your parents and tell them a story about a place called Sodom.
Pay for your travel and staying expenses.
Go to Google and look up the term Landover Baptist Church and scary Bible verses. I'll leave it at that. I do not denigrate Christianity. It has done some of the finest things for humanity on this earth. But, okay, God can't hate fags and shrimp in the same breath, all right? Sorry. I was visiting the University of Pittsburgh today, and everybody was wondering, gee, maybe he'll show up. Yeah. And I mentioned it at opening ceremonies. Who was at opening ceremonies? Most of you. So for this gentleman's benefit, the motorcade came by. At least I'm assuming it was his motorcade. Who else would have this giant column of police motorcycles with lights and siren going, coming down Liberty with a big black car behind it? Well, this came down, and the black car came, and I could swear that I saw a silhouette in the back window going... before a hand came up and pushed it down. That's probably enough. Any questions about this afterward? I'm going to step outside and have a drink of water. In the meantime, go enjoy, tell the world what we are about.